Not a lot, just situationally with some things in certain situations where there's some anticipation of that you may get something that you might not be quite ready for. You always have to equip the quarterback in those situations to expect the unexpected.
So was there a situation on the 1 yard line that led him to that check?
Yes.
Is that what you,
That led him
what
to
did
that
he
check.
see there?
Cover zero, which is zero blitz, man on man. In that situation, he understands that we don't have enough to block what they're going to send, and he could use that as a part of his tool belt to get to a check.
Was that the right case with 9 guys in the box? Do you always want him to check in that situation?
Not all the time. No, not all the time. And a lot of that is just continuing to understand the situation. First and goal from the goal. We understand a lot of times you may run against an uneven box there in that situation. With that, going back and you learn from all of those things, you probably say, you know what, hand the ball off here, first and goal. But he understood the coaching part of it led him to his check. There's no wrong in that, because if you hit it, then it looks like, you know what, the quarterback had his tool belt, he used what he needed to use, and we executed. The point is, we didn't execute.
Larry, everybody talks about that first and goal from the 1, but maybe in hindsight was the key part where y'all didn't call timeout and you brought JG in when you could have maybe called timeout and got Quentin back out there for the second down play.
Yeah, all of those things. Hindsight is hindsight. You know what I mean? You sit back on Sunday and you can be a Sunday afternoon clicker coach and go back and say, dang it, wish you would have and wish you didn't. All those things, yeah, of course, those things always come up, and, there's going to be times you wish you would have did something a little different.
Did Josh run the wrong route on that pick in the end zone?
No,
Homer?
no, he did not.
Just not on the same page as
Just
Quentin?
not on the same page, and we simply didn't get it executed. That's all.
Larry, with that in mind, I mean, where's the threshold of how much you put on the young players on what they can handle, and when's too much overload in terms of, what they're reading, what they're
You
seeing?
always have to be cognizant of that, but that's not on a young player. That's on defensive structure and look that I don't care who's playing football, you got to have and be able to recognize those in those situations. Or you're taking sacks, you're getting hits, you're getting all of those things that really, really look bad and lead to really bad football. So to be able to put, I don't care if a kid's good enough to play for you, you have to equip him with the things he needs to execute in those situations, and we just didn't get it executed.
Moving forward in the red zone with your red zone package, what's got to improve? I know you threw it every time you were inside the 10. I'm assuming Florida was taking away your run there, in your opinion. But when you looked at your red zone package, reviewing it, moving forward, where you got to get better?
Well, that's always depends on what we get. How people, a lot of times defenses change. You go into the situation and game planning, and you go right down the field and you work it through the situations in the quadrants, and you go, when does the defense change? Okay, when they change, you have to be able to do something that gets you into good plays and get you into situations where you can have success. So I can't sit here and say what's going to change. It depends on, again, what the defensive structure is, what we're getting, and what we feel like we can get executed.
Do you expect to get Venzo Bulwer more first-half reps, get him in the flow of games at one of the guard spots a little more?
He's a guy we like to get going and get rotating a little bit more and playing. The more guys you can play up front, especially here early in the season, the more it's going to benefit you later down the line.
Larry, do you think Dormady's throwing too much off his back foot, or is that pressure that's causing that?
Well, it's a combination of those things, and he knows that each and every position across the board has things we got to work on fundamentally to continue to get better at. That's a joint thing between being a little bit stouter up front, and then him understanding that sometimes I got to just step into it and trust the pocket and step into it and deliver the ball. So combination of things that are just called continuous improvement that we all got to get better at.
Larry, as a play caller, where's the balance in adjusting your play calls, checks, whatever, to what they're doing, and just maybe being hard-headed and say we're going to impose our will regardless of what that defensive alignment looks like?
Fine line. It's always a case in place for all of it. There's no one time in one situation where you feel like you need to do that a little bit more, because sometimes stubbornness gets you beat too. So you have to make sure that it just the game, how it's going, how it's rolling, how they're playing, how they're defending you, and those things like that. That you got to use your gut and your judgment on and roll with it.
Callaway said on the pick six that he ran the hitch too long. What's that say about his character to take ownership for that play?
That's what you hope you start to get with young players, is that they understand they're not willing to point the finger at anyone or say, it's not my fault. We talk to them all the time about accountability, and that shows growth in a young player right there. Now, there's probably a better chance that he come back and he won't do that again. And that's just being accountable to your mistakes and how everything and all the pieces fit. And that's not one person all the time that has to, take the blame or point the finger. It's not that. We're a unit. we're a team. And a part of that is guys accepting accountability for when they make a mistake.
Well, you guys had some success with two backs on the field at the same time. Ty obviously showed you guys some things. You guys gave him more reps. So is that kind of a package that you like and could foresee using even more moving forward?
Yeah, I like to try to get all of our players involved, man, as much as we can, when needed and when appropriate and when it fits the structure of what we feel like we can go attack the defense with. The more you can keep those guys involved, the better off you're going to be with the development of young players.
Joe, how
think
do you
that
feel like the
particular
offensive?
package really challenges defenses, just the way John's been able to catch the ball in the backfield. Ty's shown that ability as well.
Yeah, anytime you can take guys that are, becoming playmakers and put them in space and put them in different situations and show the defense different looks, it's going to increase your chances of finding some things that you have success with.
How do you feel like the offensive line has played through 3 games, and does their performance impact play calling at all?
Every position on the field and the way they're playing impacts play calling and how things are going. So especially that group up front. Done a really good job with all the moving pieces we've had to move around and shake up from week to week, all the way through camp, a lot of times all the way through when we get ready to go out on the field. Those guys done a really good job. I think it's just going to be a continuous growth with that group as we continue to move forward and put the right pieces together, because it's going to be moving. I think it's going to be a position that we're going to see. We're going to have to be able to play some guys at different places at different times.
Is that because of injuries or scheme or what?
It's just the overall, just the numbers and where we are with depth and those type of things.
It looked like Josh Smith left with quite a bit of pain in his shoulder again. How important is it to get Murphy, Johnson, maybe Tyler Bird more reps at slot and get them
And
going?
that's exactly it. And you're going to have to keep doing that and stressing that through practice and through real life game experience. When you have those guys, a certain amount of simple mistakes are going to come about when playing young players. That's just a part of it. They're a lot of times they're going to go out there and they're going to make a mistake, and you got to live with it. And you got to overcome them. And that's what this football team and this unit is learning to do, really, is understand that we can't make those mistakes, and we're going to work our tails off to get it all cleaned up and see if we can get them all perfect, which we understand that no one playing football is perfect at any level of football. You watch the National Football League on Sundays and all those things happen. But you got to go back and you got to clean them up. Tell those guys yesterday, life, man, come on, it's 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you're going to react to it. So we're going to go back to work, and we've moved on already. Right now, we're on UMass. We took the lumps, we took our mistakes. We understood that we didn't overcome them and play well enough there at the end to win the game. But we've moved on. We got to learn and go. Got the rest of the season to play.
I think Quentin ran 2 quarterback keepers. Would you like to see him keep it a few more times just to keep the defensive end honest, on more plays to free up space in the middle for Kelly?
I want him to make his reads, be a football player, and do what the defense gives him. Absolutely.
How nice has it been to have John Kelly in your offense?
John Kelly he's a football player, and that's the ultimate compliment that you can give to a guy that you're coaching and those things that are around every day. He's prepared, he's competitive, he wants to win, and you can't have enough of those guys on your football team.
Is there going to be?
Thank you.